Alright, so today, I'll be going over some of the most stupid mistakes chefs have ever made on Hell's Kitchen. And if we're really talking stupid, then I feel there's no better place than to start here.
Want to know the truth?
Yeah, I do want to know the truth.
I have no faith that he's going to be able to get the sides out.
Despite all the chaos that he stirred up, this dude somehow managed to stick around a lot longer than he deserved in the competition without getting the boot. I'm talking about Season 8, Episode 2, when Vinny Accardi was supposed to assist the head honcho of the blue team that night. But Vinny wasn't up for it. After hanging out with Raj for a bit, he decided to throw the rulebook out of the window and cheated like there was no tomorrow. As for his memory, well, not exactly a steel trap. It took him a whopping 30 minutes just to send his first ticket to Chef Ramsay.
James, I don't know what Vinny's doing, but I need some tickets in here, yes?
Yo, is that table 20?
No, table 20's right there.
Of course, the famous chef wasn't too pleased. He accused Vinny of sabotaging the blue team's chances, but Vinny? Oh, he played the innocent card like a pro.
Vinny, are you trying to sabotage your own team?
No, not at all.
No, understand what you're doing. Own up to it.
And guess what? An hour and a half into the service, Vinny was still dragging his feet, slowing down the entire kitchen. But what happened next was mind-blowing. Vinny decided to ditch etiquette altogether when he was assigned to be a waiter. Instead of just taking orders and relaying it back to the kitchen, Vinny decided to play head chef, dictating what the customer should eat.
If you guys order sides, you're going to be here till next Tuesday.
But it seems like he might have had a bunch of manipulation techniques up his sleeve because he actually managed to convince one of his tables to skip ordering sides. Wondering why? Well, it was because of his distrust in Raj. Talk about a team player, right? But surprise, surprise, James caught wind of it and ratted him out to Chef Ramsay. And let me tell you, the famous chef wasn't having any of it.
Shut up!
Vinny was hauled to the kitchen, where he tried to talk his way out of blaming Raj for his missteps. Turns out, he had little to no faith in Raj to whip up some sides in time. And because he was so concerned about the customers, he simply asked them to skip the sides altogether. Now the famous chef wasn't buying that BS. He figured that Raj must have been the mastermind behind this entire mess and decided to confront him himself. And Raj was shocked. He never saw it coming. The poor dude was just hanging around his station trying to work on his sides as fast as he could. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Chef Ramsay walks up accusing him for doing something that Vinny did? The dude didn't even have a clue what was going on, and his reaction honestly was gold.
Of course not! Why would I say that?
Don't fucking shout at me. You told him that. Don't push the side so I look good.
I'm ready with the side.
Poor Raj ended up getting the short end of the stick for absolutely no reason. It was one of the rare times when Raj was left scratching his head, wondering what went wrong when he had everything under control.
Why, look at these sides. He's all ready. He's okay.
You see, this time around, Raj wasn't the bad guy. And when the famous chef finally saw the truth, his gaze slowly shifted to Vinny, and well, there was no point in hiding it anymore. Vinny admitted that he just wanted to mess with Raj. Talk about being too clever for your own good, huh? And let me tell you, he totally got what was coming to him.
The truth is, I have no faith that he's going to be able to get the sides out.
For real, the dude totally deserved every bit of what he got. But wait, there's more. Vinny really wasn't willing to back down and take all the blame. He tried to pin it on Raj once again, this time for forgetting the parsley. Seriously, Vinny? I mean, stop playing the victim in your own mess. Despite all of his mistakes, Vinny somehow managed to dodge elimination. And I'm pretty sure Chef Ramsay felt the same way because, out of the blue, he called Vinny out.
I am pissed. You have no right to recommend to the guests not to have a side with an entree.
I honestly thought he'd be packing his bags and leaving the show that night, but, well, Chef Ramsay had other plans in mind. However, hey, at least he didn't goof up as bad as this next contestant.
Fuck my life.
Oh boy, Shaday's blunder is gonna be talked about for ages on Hell's Kitchen. I mean, I'm talking about next level stupidity here. And I know, I've brought this up so many times on my channel, but bro, didn't you read the title of the video? It would be a crime not to bring up Shaday's mess in the dog show planning challenge. Call it miscommunication or a mix-up, but Shaday literally took misunderstanding to a whole new level with her exquisite dish.
I thought we were cooking for dogs.
I mean, it was a dog show, so why not, right? But let me tell you, watching her go all out crafting a braised beef dish for her furry customers was something else. However, who did she think was gonna judge the dish? Chef Ramsay? Anyway, Steve and Bryant were just flabbergasted.
I don't know about fried anything for dogs.
So it's not making too much fucking sense right now.
It's insane how she didn't realize she was way off track until she saw what everyone else was serving up. And when the famous chef caught a glimpse of her braised beef dish disaster, he simply let her have it.
What's this plate here? What is that?
Braised beef.
Am I the only one here? Or does that sound fucking ridiculous?
Yeah, no kidding, it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, the blue team got served a slice of defeat and ended up being punished with setting up the dining room for the next service and taking care of the dogs from the American Kennel Club.
I am so tempted to grab the hose and spray all of these bitches. And I'm not talking about the dogs.
Talk about a double whammy. I wonder if they put her dish to good use there. But here's the thing, there was a full-blown discussion about this on Reddit after the episode aired. And one user pointed out that Shade probably did it on purpose because there was an extra member on the team, which meant that one dish would quietly be dropped away. If you ask me, I guess that would be a huge risk to take. And while Shade did make a dumb mistake, I'm sure she isn't so dumb to literally sabotage her position on the show. But what's your take on this? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments section down below. Meanwhile, let's move on from delicious dog food to some inviting canned food.
It's called Moe's pasta.
In the very first challenge of season 14, while everyone else was putting their heart and soul into their signature dishes, this contestant decided to take the easy route and crack open a can of sauce. Bravo! What a genius move. Or so we thought. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a major flop. During the signature dish challenge, when it was Monique's turn to impress Chef Ramsay, she served up Moe's pasta. As if that wasn't bad enough, when Chef Ramsay asked about the marinara sauce, she confessed to using a store-bought jar. And let me tell you, the famous chef's reaction was pure gold.
I want to know how you made it.
It's just from a jar.
Ouch, talk about being called out for something you didn't even cook. But Monique wasn't in the mood to back down. She actually had the audacity to defend herself, claiming that there was nothing wrong with it because, you know, who has time to make sauce from scratch unless you're Italian, right? Yeah, she actually tried to argue with Chef Ramsay during the very first challenge. Talk about nerves.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with canned sauce. Unless you're from fucking Italy and you're like born as an Italian.
But wait, things were about to get even crazier. The famous chef, against all odds, gave her dish a whopping 1 point. I mean, seriously?
Moe's pasta, 1 out of 5.
Okay, got it.
With her terrible attitude, I was sure she'd get the boot before she even set foot in the kitchen. Chef Ramsay, however, wanted to give her another chance. But did she deserve it? Absolutely not. Monique's performance in the kitchen that evening was nothing short of a train wreck. She was supposed to handle the meat station with Christine Hazel, but guess what? She couldn't even figure out how to turn on the oven. And it only gets worse, somehow. She went on to serve up raw lamb and pork so dry that it could rival the Sahara Desert. What's more, the Queen of Shortcuts managed to secure some nominations for elimination not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now that is what I call a feat. And get this, when Chef Ramsay asked her why she thought she deserved to be on the show, her response, well, you can hear it for yourself.
I think I deserve to stay here because I'm better than these two.
Eventually, the red team just had enough of her antics. But hey, on the bright side, at least Monique can now rely on canned sauce without having to worry about sidelining Chef Ramsay's rules, right? But that wasn't the only signature dish with prepackaged ingredients. Remember Mike from season 12? Oh, believe me, this guy was a real character. His confidence was through the roof. But did it pay off? Well, let's just say his dishes spoke for themselves.
Tortellini, what's inside the filling?
It's just a cheese. It's a packaged tortellini.
Wait, did he just say packaged? Oh no, that's a sin in Chef Ramsay's book. And the kicker? Mike actually thought he could get away with it. But wait, he wasn't done yet.
That's how it's sold, Chef.
Please tell me you use fresh tomatoes.
They were canned tomatoes.
Could you believe that? He wasn't even trying to hide his stupidity anymore. I mean, if everything on his plate was either packaged or canned, then what exactly did he cook? The famous chef had had enough, and let's just say his reaction wasn't exactly a shocker. I mean, for real, we all saw that one coming, right? It looks like Mike took away not just the creativity, but also the authenticity of a signature dish away from it. But this next contestant comes really close in competition to Mike's level of idiocy.
Stop it! Look at me now, okay? Get off the section!
So, during Season 3, Episode 1 of Hell's Kitchen, Vinny was at the appetizer station doing his thing. And suddenly, things took a nosedive when Vinny was hit with a veggie crisis for his risotto. And as it turns out, Rock was the bearer of bad news.
I need some vegetable stock. There is no more.
But instead of freaking out, Vinny decided to improvise on his mess and poured some water into the risotto. Well, it was a genius move according to him, because veggies are basically just water, right? Hey, they were Vinny's words, not mine.
Stock is made of water, and vegetables are made of water.
But of course, not everyone was on board with his quick fix solution.
Just come here, you. You're putting water in the risotto.
And when it was time to taste Vinny's risotto experiment, Chef Ramsay had the most dramatic reaction to it.
No harm, no foul. That's all we have.
It tastes like gnat's piss.
Gnat's piss? I mean, I never come up with that comparison even in the wildest depths of my imagination, but, well, Chef Ramsay seems to know it all. And what followed next was Vinny's removal from the appetizer station that night.
Look at me now, okay? Get off the section.
But fear not, because Brad swooped right in to save the day. As the appetizers started to fly out of the blue kitchen, Chef Ramsay couldn't help but tease Vinny.
Doing my best, Chef.
Vinny's just peaked in life. Dishwasher.
Yeah, the famous chef sure knows how to put people in their place. Now, fast forward to the post-mortem, and Chef Ramsay called out Vinny for the risotto disaster. But Vinny fired back with arrogance.
I didn't know what you wanted. You didn't want to show me. So what did you want me to do?
Oh yeah, he actually tried to pin the blame on Chef Ramsay? Well, Ramsay wasn't having any of it. He straight up called Vinny a two-faced, lazy little, well, you know what. And Vinny was left fuming.
Lazy.
Rock had to actually pat him on his back and stop him in his tracks. I mean, surely Vinny had momentarily forgotten who he was talking to. At this point, Vinny's ego had put the blue team's future in jeopardy, and Rock wasn't about to lose it over one guy.
Please shut up. Who are you talking to? Are you serious? I couldn't believe it.
And thanks to Rock's timely intervention, Chef Ramsay moved on from Vinny, and eventually the red team were named losers for the night. Talk about a close save, huh? Moving on, now let's dive into season 14, where one contestant had a knack for taking shortcuts. But borrowing rice from his teammate and passing it off as his own dish? Now that is just plain ridiculous. So Adam kicked things off strong in the signature dish challenge, even managing to impress Chef Ramsay with his first creation, scoring a solid 4 points. But then, things took a turn for the worse. On the third day, Chef Ramsay threw a curveball with the Alaskan Fish Challenge, where contestants had to match fish heads to their tails. Sounds disgusting, but easy, right? Wrong.
The fish have been split in half. The fish heads are in one pool, and the fish tails are in the other pool.
With the heads and tails in different icy ponds, telling a trout from a salmon or a cod from a halibut when they're sliced in half? Not exactly a walk in the park, huh? For this specific challenge, Millie Medley and Adam Laval ended up as partners, and right from the get-go, Adam was griping about the cold. Come on, Adam, quit complaining about the ice being so chilly. Could you even hear yourself? You sound silly.
Yeah, I should have peed before we got down there, because as soon as I touched that cold water, woo! Had to chew that back.
Anyway, despite the blue team snagging a 5-minute head start, Adam couldn't quite keep up, even with the advantage. While his team was busting their chops to impress Chef Ramsay, Adam realized that he needed a hand from his partner.
I got that.
That's some cool teamwork, huh? But this little move ended up backfiring big time. Adam and Millie were the last pair to present their dish to the guest judge Michael Cimarusti. Despite the setback, Adam's pan-seared halibut with grilled baby bok choy and basmati rice managed to turn some heads and even impress Judge Cimarusti.
Fish is cooked nicely here and pretty well seasoned.
Now that's what I call bouncing back from a setback, huh? But just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, Millie stepped up to present his dish of halibut française butter with bell pepper rice, and lo and behold, both dishes had rice on them. The judge started to voice his suspicions, and Adam's face went as white as a sheet. Oopsie, looks like someone just got caught red-handed. I mean, you could practically feel the tension in the air.
Did you guys share on that one, or?
And of course, Chef Ramsay wasn't about to let it slip by. He jumped right in, asking Adam if he really did borrow Millie's rice. I mean, seriously, what a sly little scheme they had going on there. And to everyone's disbelief, this is what Adam had to say.
Yes, sir.
But the famous chef wasn't buying into his games, and Adam knew that he had no choice but to come clean.
This was your dish.
Absolutely, sir.
So, no shared ingredients.
You got it, chef.
Okay, so you know what that means? The dish wasn't entirely his creation. Adam was caught with his hands in the cookie jar. There was no way out from here. I mean, what a missed opportunity. Adam's dish had the potential to clinch the win for his team, especially with that 5-minute head start. But no, he had to cheat and hand over the victory to the red team on a silver platter. Meanwhile, the blue team was given the consolation prize of participating in seafood delivery day and prepping fish for the next service. And to add insult to injury, after a grueling day, what did they have for lunch?
Guys, it's peanut butter and jelly. I mean, peanut butter and jelly fish.
You guessed it, a less than appetizing offer. Yikes, talk about rubbing salt in the wound. Adam should have just cooked his own rice and spared his team and himself from this horrendous punishment. Lesson learned the hard way, I suppose. And now, it's time for the last entry on this list. This dumb chef right here failed to cross-check his dish before sending it out.
How I get this out of here without breaking it?
Very delicately.
So, in episode 7, Van from season 6 was holding down the fish station during the dinner service, feeling pretty confident as the resident fish expert. But uh-oh, one of his sea bass dishes got sent back much to his disappointment. Wondering why? Well, check this out.
I think that's like wax paper.
Yikes, plastic on the skin definitely wasn't the finishing touch he had in mind. So, what did he do next? Had it been for me, I'd try my best to bounce back with a flawless second attempt. But Van? He just sent up another round of plastic-plagued sea bass.
And now for the fucking second time, more fucking plastic wrap!
Unbelievable. This prompted the famous chef to step in with a stern lecture about the importance of paying attention to those little details. And if that wasn't enough, Van then took the chef's table order for the fish entree and fumbled through with an explanation nobody could understand. In other words, the fish station quickly turned into a cooking disaster zone.
It's braised baby romaine lettuce.
After the blue team's terrible dinner service, the famous chef had seen enough and decided to shut the kitchen down. Van, confronted with his lackluster performance, watched as Dave was crowned the best of the worst. When nomination time rolled around, Van and Robert found themselves on the chopping block, with Andy joining them in the lineup. However, the famous chef did not forget about the plastic incident. Feeling the heat, Van was asked if he was ready to throw in the towel, and you won't believe his response.
You got 20-something years in this business. You can spot talent.
Nope, not even close to calling it quits. Surprisingly, he managed to dodge elimination as Chef Ramsay sent him back in line. In the end, Van narrowly escaped getting the boot and lived to cook another day. Whew, that was a close one. But here comes a contestant who was equal parts stupid and shameless. So, in Season 9, during the 20-year reunion planning challenge, Elizabeth took charge as the red team's representative in the committee meeting. She admitted her lack of experience with Hawaiian cuisine, but suggested infusing it with Asian flavors would do the trick. And that's because, according to her, they were one and the same.
I haven't done Hawaiian cooking and stuff, but I've done Asian. They do taste extremely similar.
And with all the misplaced confidence in the world, she pitched the idea of a surf and turf dish to the committee.
How do you guys feel about combining meat and seafood on the same plate? Like a surf and turf.
Oh boy, here we go. Obviously, the committee was taken aback by Elizabeth's suggestion, as they were expecting a traditional Hawaiian theme. Despite this, during the cooking process, she steered the red team both towards Asian cuisine and disaster. She stuck with the Asian theme come hell or high water.
They wanted Asian, so I would definitely want to do appetizer. Bacon wrapped like scallops is really nice.
I honestly can't figure out what she was trying to do here. What's more, she proposed making bacon-wrapped scallops, which made a lot of people, including Jamie, very nervous.
I was confused as to if she really did have the right details or not.
No, she absolutely did not. Following the cooking period, Chef Ramsay revealed a little insignificant detail that Elizabeth had failed to communicate to her team.
The theme is Hawaiian.
I didn't hear anything about Hawaiian. It was Asian. I don't know where she came up with Asian.
Consequently, when Elise served up those bacon-wrapped scallops that Elizabeth was so adamant about, Chef Ramsay criticized Elizabeth for neglecting to inform her team that one of the committee members was a pescatarian.
Elizabeth Diarra did explain that she was pescatarian and she couldn't eat meat.
They ended up losing, because obviously they lost, and they were handed a punishment of decorating the dining room, cleaning both kitchens, and decorating the cake. Ideally, Elizabeth should have been doing it all. This one was totally on her. But sadly, the whole team had to suffer on her account.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was under the impression that we could mix them. I'm sorry.
And Elise knew it and let Elizabeth have it for single-handedly ruining the entire service. Elizabeth then tried to defend herself, saying that she thought they wanted Asian food, but come on.
But you pressed the issue of bacon.
Pork, we want pork, so I said go with bacon.
We would all know that we can't put bacon on it.
Can't blame the whole thing on me. Everybody lost points.
And then she has the audacity to try and blame Elise for some undercooked scallops? Come on, that's just plain ridiculous. Elise must have been fuming, and honestly, I wouldn't blame her if she was. Elizabeth tried her very best to act like it wasn't her fault, but let's be real here. She was the one who gave the team the wrong info from the very beginning.
And not because of the information I said, just because like the dishes were not good enough.
Oh, and let's not forget that they lost the challenge even before they got to the fish round. So trying to blame the final dish for the loss? That's total nonsense. If Elizabeth had just given them the right info in the first place, maybe, just maybe, things would have turned out differently, but who knows. However, that was far from the only mistake made that season. In episode 2, Brendan found himself on the fish station, ready to fire up some sea bass for the next order. However, he jumped the gun, and Chef Ramsay wasted no time in giving him an earful for it. So, Brendan quickly dropped another sea bass as ordered.
Is your meat ready?
No, chef.
And the garnish all ready?
No, chef.
You've got to work as a team.
But when his second attempt was served, Chef Ramsay grew suspicious. He questioned whether Brendan had sent out the same fish that had been cooked a good 10 minutes prior.
Is that the same bass?
No, chef.
You didn't start a fresh one?
Yes, I did, chef.
Despite Brendan's initial denial, Chef Ramsay's suspicions persisted. What followed next was epic.
Show me.
Yeah.
So, what happened to the fish, Brendan? Did it just disappear into thin air?
Chef, I can't find it.
Are you lying to me?
Brendan eventually had to admit to his mistake, exposing his lie and undermining his credibility in the same breath.
Is that the bass from 10 minutes ago, or is that a fresh one you cooked? I'm gonna turn this fucking kitchen upside down.
But, like, the way he was acting, digging through the trash like he was actually gonna find something, was Oscar-worthy. However, Brendan's troubles were far from over. The famous chef threatened him with automatic elimination if he was caught lying again.
And how dare you go to the garbage can, search it, and turn me out like that? You do that to me one more time, trust me, f*** elimination. I'll send you out there and then, let me tell you that.
Despite this, his performance didn't improve at all. When he finally presented his sea bass, it was undercooked, because of course it was. Chef Ramsay's frustration boiled over as he reprimanded the men for failing to serve a single entree.
Blue team,
Yes, chef.
stop!
Chef.
It's just got worse.
Ultimately, the blue team lost the service, prompting further criticism from his teammates back at the dorms. However, that same criticism was like water off a duck's back for Brendan.
I do not want to keep fucking talking about this. Go get this over with, all right? Let's go face the music.
Brendan faced the harsh reality of being the blue team's first nominee for elimination. In his plea to remain in the competition, Brendan emphasized his determination and passion, expressing his desire to continue working towards success, particularly at BLT Steak. He then took responsibility for his earlier lie, acknowledging that it was not characteristic of his true self and offered a sincere apology.
Heart, chef. I don't quit. Character. Those are things that you cannot teach.
You know, I think we know exactly what kind of character you are, Brendan. And so does Chef Ramsay because, well, the inevitable happened in record time.
The only thing bigger than Brendan's ego are the lies that he tells, and I can't have that in Hell's Kitchen.
In his exit interview, instead of showing an ounce of responsibility or guilt, bro straight up started flirting? Yeah, I don't get it either.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Carrie. Good luck. I am your biggest fan, and call me, all right?
Anyway, what happened in Season 9, Episode 11 was even worse, if you can believe it. But who doesn't love a classic good old fight every now and again, right? During prep before the 11th service, Tommy and Elise had a bit of a back and forth. Tommy offered to unwrap Elise's Wellingtons for her, but he made it clear that she'd have to score them herself. Elise wasn't too happy about it though, complaining that Tommy didn't do a great job prepping them.
Tommy prepped the Wellingtons, but didn't score them. Whatever, I'll do it myself.
Keep the receipts, okay? You're gonna need them later. When the dinner service rolled around, Elise found herself on the meat station. And what do you know, the Wellingtons weren't properly scored.
That's what you presented me. That's what you presented.
Apart, chef, I'm sorry.
Fuck off, Elise.
The famous chef demanded that Elise bring the tray of Wellingtons to the front. That's when he discovered that they were scored way too deeply, causing the pastry to break apart.
When you score pastry that deep with a sharp knife, it falls apart.
Elise then tried to shift the blame onto Tommy, claiming that he had scored the first tray.
Now you're blaming Tommy.
I'm just saying that I didn't score the first tray.
Go over there and fucking tell him that. Come here, you.
However, when Chef Ramsay flagged Tommy down to get to the bottom of things, Tommy reminded Elise that he hadn't scored them at all. And this left Elise in a tight spot.
Tommy stood right over there in front of me before service and scored and basted them.
And I'm not lying. Hook me up to a polygraph and telling you the damn truth.
And no matter how much Chef Ramsay took her to task over it, Elise was in no mood to give in now of all times.
Do you know the biggest problem with you? Yourself. Who are you gonna blame? Carrie? Krupa? Jamie?
Later, tensions rose as Elise was back clashing with Elizabeth over timing concerns.
2 minutes, Liz! My best is not gonna be done in 2 minutes.
Things went from bad to worse when Elise sent up a New York strip that had been sliced before being put back into the oven. And in the end, it came out overcooked and dry. The famous chef couldn't resist mocking the situation.
So you take one slice off, don't you stop there and put it back in whole? Look, she just shakes her head. Hold on. Cry time?
No.
Ramsay had had enough. He called her out for slipping back to her old habits from night one, and along with Elizabeth, she was kicked out of the kitchen. As they left, Elise took out her frustration on a poor, innocent garbage can. Please, nobody tell Joe. Jokes aside, Chef Ramsay was far from overlooking her shenanigans at this point.
Pick that fucking thing up. You wanna serve shit, overcook meat, now start kicking a bin. Unbelievable.
It's pretty wild how Elise managed to lie right to Chef Ramsay's face and escape without facing immediate consequences.
I'm not gonna just sit here and take the blame myself. I have to do something.
That something being lying. Ramsay's always going on about trust in the kitchen, so you'd think he'd come down hard on someone pulling this kind of stunt, right? And Paul called it like he saw it.
That girl coming over fucking trying to blame us because she can't cut Wellingtons. Own up to your mistake.
It's pretty frustrating when Chef Ramsay preaches about accountability, but then seems to toss it out the window when it really counts. Like that time in season 13, when he brushed off whatever drama was going down in the dorms after the blue team nominated Bryant. But then fast forward to season 16, and he was booting Coop over the same thing, dorm drama. I am by no means justifying what Coop did, but explain the hypocrisy. No, like, seriously, explain it to me in the comment section down below because I'm still stumped to be honest. However, in the meantime, let's move on to one of the biggest leadership fails on the show, bar none.
I blame Melanie because as the captain, I mean, you're kind of accountable for the team.
You're all stuck in fucking neutral. Let's go.
In episode 6 of season 12, Chef Ramsay wanted each team to pick a leader for the next service.
Red team, who did you choose as your captain for tonight's service?
Misha.
Melanie, good.
When they got back downstairs, Melanie seemed pretty pumped to show Chef Ramsay what she was capable of as a leader.
I think I'm one of the strongest leaders, and I am very confident with fish myself, so it should be a great service.
Yeah, no, she was digging her own grave. During prep, Chef Ramsay called Anton and Melanie over for a quick chat, letting them know that their role as team captains had already started. Melanie got giddy and saw this as her chance to show off her leadership skills, especially since she thought the women were stronger than the men. She reassured the ladies that everything was under control and that Chef Ramsay would see just how great of a leader she was.
Chef Ramsay will definitely get a taste of my leadership skills. We're obviously stronger than the boys, so it's gonna be a good night.
As the service kicked off, Melanie instructed Joy and Bev to keep communication flowing regarding the lobster tail. Oh yeah, she thought so highly of her ability to motivate her team. However, Joy not responding promptly to her question and Sandra's uncertain answer about timing made her uneasy. And, well, she felt her control slipping.
Let us know on your 2 minutes so I can put my scallops down. I can only control my own 2 arms. I can yell as much as I want, but if people don't get it, then it is on my ass.
Beth's call for a minute on the lobster tail, even though she already had it, didn't help matters.
Stop! The lobster's still raw.
Yes, sir, I haven't put it in yet.
Oh my god.
She accused Beth of freezing up and not knowing what to do, but Chef Ramsay reminded her to take charge.
Come on, Melanie. Nothing's coming out. Drive your team, Melanie. Let's go.
Yes, Chef.
Yep, it's your job as a leader to get her out of her shell, right? But what did Melanie do? Well, nothing. And that's the problem.
Melanie. Hello? Speak up.
Halfway through the entire service, the women still hadn't sent out a single appetizer, and Chef Ramsay called out Melanie for her silence.
Melanie, I haven't heard you all night. Come on, Melanie.
And when Beth served an overcooked lobster tail, Chef Ramsay did not hesitate to point out the decline in quality.
Look at it. Rubbery, chewy, overcooked for the chef's table. Melanie, when the pressure's on, my God, do the standards dip.
Melanie then desperately attempted to coordinate Beth and Joy for the refire. However, Joy was lost when she realized that Beth hadn't even prepared a lobster tail in the first place.
Hey, Beth, get my lobster tail ready now. Huh? Somebody hop over there.
There's not even a fucking lobster tail in there.
Melanie felt that Beth was weighing the team down way too much, so she took matters into her own hands and handled the lobster tail herself. Despite Beth's confusion, Melanie's effort paid off when Elizabeth Perkins' table received her order. But in spite of that small victory, that didn't stop some raw halibut from gracing the pass.
This was brought by your captain. Just raw, soggy, pink halibut. Can't even rip it apart.
With tensions rising and rising, Chef Ramsay accused Melanie of giving up and warned her of the dire consequences if she didn't step up her game.
I'm trying, Chef.
I'm not going to tell you one more time. Cut the shit or go home. Good night.
Yeah, that's a scolding she 100% earned. But if we're talking about well-deserved punishments, look no further than the family night dinner service of season 16. Things were off to a shaky start when Shayna found herself paired with Heidi on the appetizer station. Despite Heidi's advice to give the pizza a few more minutes in the oven, Shayna opted to ignore her and send it to the pass anyway.
Do I need to go anymore?
A little bit longer. The top of it's not cooked.
It's all right. Just a little bit. It's okay.
Don't ask for my opinion, Shayna, if you're not going to take it.
Of course, that decision was about as huge of a mistake as you'd expect.
Pizza's undercooked. Raw dough. Look, you put your finger in there, just go straight through. Who cooked the pizza?
I did.
Hey, young lady, raw dough.
Okay.
Now, in the very next dinner service, Shayna was assigned to the meat station. As she worked on pushing out entrees, the red team suddenly received Adrienne Malouf's table. Shayna's pan caught fire, resulting in dried chicken and an incomplete order for Malouf's table.
Shayna, come over.
Yes, Chef.
Just touch it then, it's dry. It's dry, yeah, it's dry.
Despite her honest assertion that she would never serve raw food, Chef Ramsay emphasized that nobody was pleased with the situation, least of all him.
Sorry, Chef, I'm on a refire.
That dried chicken, now the raw chicken's for Adrienne Malouf. Zag, special guest on the chef table, and she's not very happy. And nor I.
After another 10 minutes, her third attempt at the chicken was finally accepted. However, the challenges continued. When Kimberly adjusted the temperatures for desserts and relocated her meats, Shayna was still struggling.
I gotta drop this temp on this Wellington. I gotta pull it out, put it in your oven. I need to put your Wellingtons in here from now. I'm dropping temp on the oven.
She sent out a mix of raw and overcooked Wellingtons, and guess what? She accused Kimberly as quickly as she could. But when the raw Wellingtons kept coming, Chef Ramsay ejected the red team from the kitchen outright.
Just touch that.
The dough's raw, Chef. You can see it.
That's raw. Yeah, that's overcooked, and that bit there is raw as well, so.
My teammate messed this up.
Damn, that was rough. Moving on, during the 8th dinner service of season 15, Jared manned the fish station. Despite considering himself proficient in seafood, Chef Ramsay observed him flipping scallops off the heat, causing them to stick to the pan and tear. However, instead of allowing him to relax, Chef Ramsay brought Jared out to the dining room to address the mistake directly.
You took the pan off the stove. The pan gets cold, you put it back on there, they stick like to blank, get some fresh air,
yes,
and
chef.
get your head out your.
Yes, chef.
When he got back, the blue team had just started working on the main dishes. Manda told him not to rush her because she wasn't feeling too fast that night due to her injury. But he did not seem to care about Manda's situation and told her to deal with it quietly.
Jared, I can't move fast.
What do you mean you can't move fast?
Let me take my time and don't rush me.
Can I get you anything? You know, let me rub your back. Shut the up and let's go.
Later on, when Chef Ramsay asked for the Arctic char, along with Chad's question, he didn't say anything.
2 Arctic char. No answer.
Jared, we're going on yours, right? No.
This lack of communication got Chef Ramsay mad, and he made him and Chad sit at the chef's table, scolding them for not talking to each other.
Standing next to each other, and we refuse to talk. Both of you, talk now. I don't give a what it's about, but just have a talk.
But Jared made a return during the All-Star season. Because, of course he did. To me, he was just a cut above the rest in the excuse department. If you know, you know. You see, Jared felt swamped because apparently there were tons of garnishes being fired up that night, and he took out his feelings on the blue team. He kept calling out inconsistent timings even though the proteins were all good to go.
But I need to know your timing to match my fish.
45 seconds. Like he's literally lying to us on how long the garnish is gonna be. Walk that garnish, bro.
No. 45 seconds.
That was 10 seconds ago and 30 seconds before that.
However, things took a turn when he suddenly called for a medic, swearing that he cut his finger. However, Chef Ramsay checked it out, and lo and behold, there wasn't a cut within a half a mile of this guy. After seeing the medic, Jared returned, claiming that he was all patched up, but Chef Ramsay wasn't buying it.
He's bleeding to death. He's bleeding to death. You've got a bigger cut on the end of your emergency.
The famous chef was so pissed that he booted the blue team from the kitchen, but not before calling the medic over to confirm his suspicions.
Where was the cut?
I'm not sure. I didn't see the cut.
Thank you so much. Professional medic can't even find a cut. Get out!
See, Chef Ramsay was right. Jared faked it. During the deliberations, it seemed like Jared's defense strategy involved a lot of finger pointing. I wonder how he did that, considering, his finger was hurt. but Robin confronted Jared about it. Still, Jared insisted that he had blood on his hands, even though Robin assured him that he wasn't cut.
It all started ungarnished and went downhill from there.
I have blood all over my hand.
You didn't have a cut, babe.
I know I got cut. My towel had blood all over it, and I'm just getting pummeled like a nerd in elementary school.
I mean, come on. I feel like we're just beating a dead horse at this point. Anyway, when it came time for the nominations, Jared was first up from the blue team, with Robin up as the second. What a pair, right? During his plea, Jared laughably argued that he was a stronger chef than Robin. He admitted that he lost his way that night and emphasized his vocal presence in previous services, which is honestly such a joke.
Ooh, yeah, you were vocal. It went like this. Medic! That's the only time I heard you use your voice.
Jared made a big fuss about Manda's injury, urging her to toughen up, only to end up getting eliminated before her in season 17 due to the mysterious case of his missing cut. Do I even need to point out the hypocrisy here? And honestly, Manda was braver than he could ever be.
Sitting this out is not an option. If I sit out, I'm going home. I cannot let an injury take me out of this thing.
Now, how many of you remember the absolutely iconic elimination quote that Chef Ramsay had for him? Don't forget to comment it down below. That aside, it's never a good idea to lie to your teammates, right? But it's even worse to get on their nerves. Which is exactly what happened in season 18, episode 9. So, Jose teamed up with Trev at the fish station, but he kept interfering with Trev's work.
Just make sure you get a really nice seam. Stop moving them around so much.
Jose, I haven't even cooked anything. You're like da 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 da.
When Trev's scallops turned out to be raw, Jose took over the refire, sparking even more tension, especially annoying Brett.
I got it.
I'm right here, man.
I know you.
I just yelled at me to do it. I'm gonna do it.
I got it.
I swear, God, I'm cracking my neck and I'm rolling my shoulders. Stab somebody.
Unfortunately, his scallops were sent back for looking downright unappetizing.
Who cooked them?
I did, Chef.
There you go, Chef. There's your sort it out. It's not opening night.
Oh.
Later on, Jose pitched in to assist Godley on his meat duties. However, when Trev sent up burnt salmon, Jose took over again, feeling worried since Trev was an all-star.
Hey, it's not even crisp, it's just scorched. Is there any oil in the pan?
Yes, Chef, there was.
I'm taking over now, okay?
Fine, go ahead.
The famous chef was left speechless because the team had a solid performance the previous night. Unfortunately, Jose's attempts at cooking broke down and he asked Chef Ramsay for some more time.
The salmon is Chef.
Who's running the station? Don't you dare say we!
Despite receiving help from the blue team, his salmon ended up being undercooked. This proved to be the last straw for Chef Ramsay, who promptly ejected the men from the kitchen.
Salmon is still raw. Put the ladle down. You, stand up straight.
Yes,
Red
Chef.
team, get out!
But there was more trouble on the way. During charity night, when Jose was assigned to the Veal Saltamboca course, he initially struggled to provide Chef Ramsay and Heather with accurate timings.
Come on!
Let's go 10.
10?
Let's go 8 then. 8 is good.
8 minutes, let's go.
While Jose seemed to think that he had his team under control, he missed the crucial detail that 6 portions of veal were undercooked.
Jose, are you happy with that?
Yes, Chef.
It's so tough. Oh my gosh, mine is completely raw.
This oversight led to the dish being sent back. And, well, it prompted Chef Ramsay to reprimand the red team and question who was responsible for cooking it.
Oh. Wow. Who cooked it?
The famous chef was genuinely upset that this was happening, and honestly, who could blame him?
Oh no.
Oh my God.
No, no. Guys, come here, at the back. Oh, there's more coming back. Oh, no, 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 no.
Meanwhile, Jose resorted to a flimsy excuse, shifting the blame onto Trev.
I wish I could have cooked the veal myself. I feel like my team let me down, for sure.
Now, this is when Ramsay took matters into his own hands, instructing the men to prepare the desserts while he personally cooked the refires.
I cannot believe it. Oh, boy.
If Chef Ramsay's cooking for us, that means we up real bad.
But that really reminds me about what happened during Tilly's Sweet 16 dinner service. Well, Mia found herself stationed at the fish station alongside Ariel.
Can you get a bit more batter on the fish, please? More batter on the fish, make it thicker.
Yes, Chef.
Things quickly turned sour when sous chef Jockey rejected her fish for lacking sufficient batter. This was a setback that set the tone for the entire service.
You touch it!
It's ice cold, Chef.
It's ice cold!
Yeah, so despite her efforts to rebound with a refire, her second attempt came out raw.
Give me the head and the tail, I'll put it back in the water!
This is ridiculous.
The blue team's struggle culminated into a loss for the service, leading to the inevitable task of nominating 2 individuals for elimination. So when it actually came time to nominate someone for the chopping block, Mia found herself in hot water. Almost every single member of the blue team was pointing fingers her way. However, Mia wasn't about to take that lying down. She was deflecting and pointing out that Kanai had her fair share of slip-ups with the ahi tuna earlier that evening.
Kanai also up a fish. Your tartare was getting sent back because it wasn't sliced properly.
Mia even went as far as considering Kanai and Ro for the chopping block. And then, when it came to the final decision, Mia ended up being named as the blue team's second nominee for elimination right after Ro. During her plea, Chef Ramsay hit her with a tough question. Was she in over her head?
Kanai, you set the station up and you didn't make the batter.
I started making the batter as soon as we got into the kitchen. She's trying to play the blame game.
Mia didn't back down, arguing that Kanai messed up the batter during prep, which threw her off during service.
All stations were set up on time, so let's
She's
stop
trying
talking
to play the
about
blame
that.
game right now.
But Kanai wasn't having it. She shot back, saying that she did her part during prep, and even had Heather backing her up.
It was done before dinner service.
It was done before dinner service.
If you want to see someone caught in a lie, then look no further than this next clip. It was so embarrassing.
I make sure that it's set up for success, and I feel like mine wasn't set up for success. I'm a team player, and I'm a leader too.
You know what? Hot take time. I honestly have no idea why she's a fan favorite. However, here comes a contestant who gave the word reckless a whole new definition.
Paulie, you're lucky that was just a chair, not your face off of the fireplace, you little piece of.
Like, talk about messed up. I don't know how people say he was unproblematic when he clearly had some anger issues. So, what happened is, during the deliberation, Coop was furious. I mean, if that wasn't already obvious enough. He couldn't fathom how the blue team botched the entire service. However, instead of owning up to his own mistakes, particularly in communication, he vented his frustration on his teammates.
I'm so sick of listening to Paulie. He's always up Chef Ramsay. Oh, Chef, how good is this? Chef, is this better than last time? Chef, please, let me lick your. I'm Paulie, I love you.
However, soon enough, he himself got into an accident. Yeah, what a disaster. During the Southern Cuisine Challenge, Coop found himself teamed up with Heidi from the red team to work on a shrimp dish. As they got cooking, he went to make a ceviche using the shrimp. However, a mishap occurred when he accidentally sliced his finger while cutting celery.
Cutting this last celery stalk. Ah!
Need a medic?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
The injury wasn't minor, prompting him to seek medical attention. Coop applied pressure to his wound to stem the bleeding, and Chef Ramsay informed the blue team that he had severed part of his fingernail. Chef Ramsay showed genuine concern, checking in on him to ensure he was alright. However, Coop remained unresponsive.
Hey, Coop.
Hey, Coop.
Watching that was tough. He was out cold until they gave him some oxygen to help him breathe better. Yeah, it was that intense. Chef Ramsay showed some real patience in the face of it, cheering on Coop and giving him all the time he needed. But things weren't going well.
You alright, bud?
Coop? You back with me?
He then took it on himself to tell the blue team that Coop wouldn't finish his dish on time because of what happened.
Blue team, listen to me. Coop's not going to make it back.
But just before the judging, Coop miraculously made it back.
Coop, how are you feeling?
Ready to work.
Right.
Still, because he didn't finish his dish, he had to drop out of that round. Guess getting injured doesn't change all the rules after all. Next, do you remember this one harrowing moment from season 21?
Now, listen carefully. Each of you will have 45 minutes to grab your bag, run into the kitchen, and make me an amazing dish.
Yes, Chef.
Your first individual challenge.
The King of the Hill challenge was a thrilling ride as each chef had their dishes scrutinized by Chef Ramsay and Timarusti. The coolest part? The winner got the royal treatment, sitting in a first-class airplane seat. But there was a twist. If someone outdid the reigning champ, they'd snatch the throne and claim victory.
But here's where it gets interesting. When the next chef comes up, presents to Chef Michael and myself, if Chef thinks that dish is better, they will bump you out of first class and sit in the first class seat, as in King of the Hill.
Fair game, right? Cheyenne kicked things off with her shrimp jambalaya, featuring andouille sausage.
For this dish, I went for a play on jambalaya. Went ahead and peeled my shrimp, rendered off some andouille sausage, added some butter in there, and
Timarusti was impressed, likening it to a delicious mountain, and crowned Cheyenne the ultimate winner for nailing the sauce.
You climbed a mountain in 45 minutes. The rice is absolutely delicious.
Thank you.
For you. But Cheyenne, I gotta give it to you. This is delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Cheyenne was on cloud 9 after her victory, and her excitement soared even higher when she got to embark on a thrilling ride through the breathtaking canyons of Los Angeles.
Whoa,
welcome to Santa Clarita. You guys are gonna have a blast today.
It was a dream come true for her, and Chef Ramsay's question about who she wanted to share the experience with led to an easy decision. Her partner in crime, Summer.
A little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm excited because I love doing things like this.
Cheyenne was pumped to take the wheel of the UTV and hit the road, while Summer, typically a fan of extreme vehicles, seemed a bit apprehensive. Perhaps she should have trusted her instincts because trouble was on the horizon. As Cheyenne handed over the reins to Summer, hoping she'd enjoy the ride, things took a turn for the worse.
Help! Oh.
The entire scene had me on edge.
Help! You okay? Yeah.
Thankfully, both Cheyenne and Summer were okay in the end, with no serious injuries. It wasn't until later that we learned the full extent of the situation.
We crashed. We rolled over like 3 times.
Wow, that's crazy.
We almost died.
Holy crap.
Cheyenne opened up during an AMA session on Reddit, revealing that she was quite shaken by the accident. She mentioned having a significant bruise on her lower stomach from being jolted by the seatbelt during the accident. Being stuck in that situation for a few minutes was no picnic, especially with the pressure from the seatbelt causing so much pain. To make matters worse, Cheyenne's head was aching, adding to her discomfort.
Feels like a rocky start. My head's just not in the game. Nobody's talking to me.
She couldn't help but wish she had managed to get more rest before the dinner service.
Cheyenne, get a grip. You're literally sinking us. You got this. You got this.
Yeah,
Focus.
The incident threw her entire day off track, and as expected, it had a negative impact on her performance during the service that followed.
Drop my second set now. Just in a minute. Just a minute, Chef.
Young lady, no, come here. Tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. You forgot the scallops.
But hey, nothing can beat what happened in season 6 when this contestant almost had a heart attack.
The doctor did tell me you didn't have a heart attack, thank God, but you gotta know your limits.
After the blue team lost the 700-calorie 3-course meal challenge, they had to face the music. Their punishment? They had to ride a conference bike to the supermarket, grab ingredients, and then get both kitchens ready for dinner service. Worst one ever, right? During this punishment, Robert ran into some serious trouble. The bike ride left him feeling out of breath and dizzy, so he was forced to get medical attention.
I don't want any friends here. There's no team behind me. I feel like I'm on a firing squad right now. Praying on the...
Realizing how serious his symptoms were, the medic wasted no time and sent him straight to the hospital. Sadly, his condition meant he couldn't join in for dinner service that night. Luckily, it wasn't a heart attack, but the doctor warned him to take it easy. It was definitely a scary and unsettling situation.
Oh, man. Gives me more reason to kick their fucking asses.
Speaking of, do you remember this?
Severe flare-up of my disc that is already slipped.
During prep one time, Brett had a chat with the guys and stressed the importance of having a smooth and tidy service. Then, he excused himself to go to the bathroom. But he ended up taking quite a while, which got his teammates concerned.
Why?
Inside the bathroom, he started feeling intense pain and couldn't help but groan out loud. This caught Christine's attention in the red kitchen, and when she dashed to check in on him, she found him leaning against the wall in a hallway at the back. She asked if he was okay, and he requested a medic. That's when he opened up about having a really bad flare-up from a slip disc issue he had been diagnosed with before.
While you're taking a dump, that's something you see in a horror movie.
As Adam and sous chef Andy went to look for him, he filled them in on what happened, saying it happened while he was in the bathroom. Millie and Josh jumped in to lend a hand, carrying him back to the dorms.
Hard. He's one of the best cooks on our team.
Watch your step.
Yeah, I gotta go left foot first. Go. Okay.
Millie assured him to take his time and that they were there to support him no matter what. Once in the dorm room, he lay down on the floor and Josh made it clear he could ask for anything he needed. It was then that Brett felt bad about his condition and apologized to them. Sometime later, Chef Ramsay went to check on Brett in the dorms.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
I am sorry to myself, to my team.
Brett explained to Chef Ramsay that he had a slipped disc, which was pinching his sciatic nerve and causing a lot of pain. Although Chef Ramsay was disappointed to hear this, he clarified that despite Brett's stellar performance in the competition, he couldn't continue because of the risk of permanent damage to his back.
I cannot let you continue.
That was really heartbreaking. Chef Ramsay made sure to let Brett know that his family would be proud of him and told him to focus on taking care of himself. The next thing you know, they were shaking hands and saying their goodbyes. In his exit interview, Brett was really bummed about leaving like that, but he stayed strong, knowing he had a ton of support behind him nonetheless.
Great.
Take it easy.
It was an honor.
Get better.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Chef Ramsay. It was an honor.
Next up, let's dive into Season 13, where luck wasn't on the blue team's side during the Craps Challenge, and they took a pretty devastating loss. But guess what? Steve had far more than a bad night to deal with. Or more accurately, it was a horrible night. At a brutal 3:29 a.m., he had to tackle a delivery, which meant doing some serious heavy lifting. He wasn't too thrilled about it, especially since it was putting extra strain on his knee.
My body's sore, carrying fucking heavy-ass boxes all day long. My knee is killing me.
As the hours passed, Steve's discomfort only grew. He opened up to Bryant, telling him about his struggle to fully straighten his right leg.
You alright, bro? Well, I can't straighten my leg. My leg doesn't go straight like this.
The medic realized Steve's condition was more serious than what it seemed at face value, so they sent him for x-rays at the hospital. Steve promised to bounce back stronger and not let his bad knee keep him down for good. When Steve came back from the hospital, he had a leg brace on. When Chef Ramsay went to see him on the patio, Steve talked about how he was feeling.
All around here's all swollen. And shooting pain.
This is bad news. I'm sorry.
He told Chef Ramsay that his knee was swollen and giving him sharp pains, making it hard to straighten his leg. Chef Ramsay, though disappointed, reminded him that the competition was only going to get tougher, with more physical challenges ahead, which would be tough with a bad leg. Even though he was disappointed, Chef Ramsay praised Steve for his solid work in the Blue Kitchen and his impressive accomplishments. Chef Ramsay even hinted that Steve might come back in another season. They said their farewells with a handshake. In S2, this one episode when everyone else was asleep, this contestant suddenly felt sick and had trouble breathing. His breathing got really heavy and hard. Getting worried, he called for the medic. He told him he was sweating and feeling a tingling sensation. Since his symptoms were worrying, they decided to rush him to the hospital. Yep, I am referring to Larry Sick's condition, and man was that scary stuff to watch. The next morning, everyone noticed he was gone. Tom asked if anyone had seen him. Gabe, Heather, and Virginia looked around but couldn't find him. Then, the phone rang and Sarah picked up. And guess what? It was Larry calling. He told her to get everyone together to listen. He said he was in the hospital because the stress from the competition had really messed with his body.
I won't be back.
Oh no, Larry.
He said he wouldn't be coming back to Hell's Kitchen. Before saying goodbye, he told everyone to stay strong and stick together. After the call, he thought about how it wasn't his willpower that gave out, but his body. He thought it was the worst time for this to happen, and he was right.
I didn't quit. My body quit. This is the worst thing that could have happened. And right now, I'm a little broken.
Shows like Hell's Kitchen often see contestants leaving for medical reasons, which makes you wonder about the toll the intense environment takes on their mental and physical health. The pressure and competition in the kitchen, along with the demands of the show, seem to lead to contestants dealing with serious stress-related health problems. With so many medical exits happening, it makes you wonder if it's time to rethink and improve the working conditions on these reality cooking shows to put contestants' well-being first. Doing this could make the experience better for everyone involved and create a healthier environment where contestants can really shine. What's your take on it? Don't forget to share your thoughts down below. Meanwhile, let's hop over to the second category of some more serious recklessness. This time, as a result of blatantly disregarding safety protocol. During the 7th service in Season 11, Barrett, who was handling the fish station, made a surprising move that left everyone bewildered. Now, Barrett was no stranger to cooking fish, so you'd think things would go smoothly, right? Well, it turned out that Barrett sent out a halibut dish to the pass, intended for a group of elderly women, but there was a big problem.
All of you, come here. See those 6 glamorous ladies, slightly older? Yeah? And look.
Oh my God.
That was reckless. Barrett's troubles didn't end there. During the family dinner service, he found himself in hot water yet again. Initially, when he sliced the lamb for an order, it was discovered to be undercooked, a serious mishap. However, Barrett quickly improvised, promptly returning it to the oven for an additional 30 seconds.
What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not searing it long enough, maybe I'm not leaving it in the oven long enough, maybe my oven temperature's too low.
Barrett's decision to send out the undercooked lamb, despite knowing its raw state, was a grave error. Serving undercooked meat poses serious health risks to diners, as it increases the likelihood of foodborne illnesses.
Stop!
I got another one going in, Chef.
Barrett, if you knew it was raw, why'd you bring it up to me?
I'm sorry, Chef.
Chef Ramsay rightfully reprimanded him for this lapse in judgment. Despite receiving motivation from his teammates, Barrett's second attempt to cook the chicken was still uncertain. Seeking a second opinion from John, he was informed that the chicken would not meet the standards, suggesting it might still be undercooked.
I don't know if he would take that back.
No, he'd take that back. Barrett, are you serious? That shit shouldn't go in the window. No way in hell, man.
Chef Ramsay urged Barrett to speed up as he returned the chicken to the oven. Serving undercooked chicken poses a risk of salmonella contamination, which could be dangerous. Despite assistance from the red team, when Barrett served the chicken, it was still raw. Shockingly, it was intended for sous chef James's wife.
Can kill you.
Chef James's wife?
Yep, he was putting both her and her unborn baby at risk.
Fish people can survive, undercooked meat, you can cook it more, like, it's not gonna kill you. Fucking raw chicken.
He got off easy if you ask me. Let's now talk about Kevin's Chicken Caesar Piadina, a dish that Chef Ramsay noticed, but not in a good way. See, Chef Ramsay didn't like the idea from the start. He felt that putting a salad, which is light and fresh, on top of a pizza, which is usually hearty and indulgent, just didn't make sense. The concept clash was already making things rough for the evaluation. And it didn't stop there. Chef Ramsay also didn't like how the Piadina looked. He thought it seemed uneven, which could take away from how good it looked. As Chef Ramsay dug into more of the nitty-gritty, its problems became even clearer.
How'd you make that dough so quick?
It was prepared dough.
No shortcuts, buddy. But hey, the dude was just asking for trouble.
Is it an authentic Caesar dressing?
Pre-made.
Doesn't matter the entire Walmart fresh frozen fiasco, Chef Ramsay's disdain for them is still well documented. When it comes to Hell's Kitchen, you know things are supposed to get hot. But there was a moment when it went full-blown inferno, getting a little too close to the fiery reputation.
Out the way! Out the way! Out the way! I swear to God. Unbelievable.
This situation really showed how Chef Ramsay cares for everyone's safety. He doesn't take any chances when it comes to fire. He quickly gets whoever was nearby out of harm's way and puts out the fire to make sure nobody gets hurt. Now, how did the dinner service end up going up in flames? Well, during Italian family night, Chef Ramsay and Richard were working together on the fish station. Then, there was a moment when he brought only one order of scallops to the pass, even though Richard wasn't ready with his part yet. And to add to the chaos, he noticed their oil bottle on the flat top. When he went to pick it up, the bottom fell off because the plastic had melted.
Second I went to pick it up, the bottom just fell right out, and the oil went right on the flat top.
But before anyone could react, well, I'm sure you can see where this is going. However, Chef Ramsay was quick to jump in and put out the flames using a bunch of extra aprons. He really knows how to think on his feet. Otherwise, we might have had contestants trying to blow out fires like their birthday candles, just like Roseanne and Corey did here. Somebody tell these guys that oxygen only makes fires stronger. Well, speaking of unexpected moments, Joy's exit from HK was extremely hasty, extremely ill-considered. If you were paying attention, you might have noticed that her communication skills were a bit off in that episode. And to add to the chaos during the entrees, she messed up the timing with Rochelle Bergman and Jason Zapaltas. Rochelle needed more time for her Wellingtons, but Joy went ahead and sent out the halibut, leaving poor Rochelle hanging. Chef Ramsay had to step in and remind Joy that the sauce should come first, but she seemed to be in her own little fishy world.
3 minutes?
And to top it off, when Chef Ramsay tried to explain the importance of garnish timing, Joy served up a plate of attitude. Oh, she definitely did. But Chef Ramsay wasn't having any of it. He made sure to remind her not to take her bad mood out on his precious food.
Finish my sentence. Plain English. I would like the garnish of the halibut.
And just when you thought the kitchen couldn't handle any more drama, Joy had a total meltdown. It was the highlight of the episode for sure. Out of nowhere, she declared she was done with the competition. But seriously, giving up on an opportunity of a lifetime over a single mistake? Doesn't quite add up, does it? And sous chef Andy jumped right in with some much needed wisdom when she said, sous chef Andy was eager to find out what happened during dinner service. Joy, feeling frustrated and confused, tried to explain herself. She thought Chef Ramsay had lost it, but hey, that's just Chef Ramsay, isn't it? Talking with sous chef Andy must have really opened her eyes because she suddenly realized something important.
Honestly, I made a mistake. I definitely regret it. I wish there was a chance for me to say, you know, can I have just one more chance? Just let me prove myself.
In a moment of reflection, Joy wrestled with her next move. She realized she needed to apologize to Chef Ramsay and ask for another chance. But here's the kicker.
I can't apologize. I feel like I let Chef Ramsay down, and I didn't think about anybody but myself when I walked out that kitchen.
Yeah, she wasn't sure if she had the confidence to go through with it. It's a shame though. I think Chef Ramsay saw something in her and would have given her another shot. I mean, he's booted contestants mid-service before, but when he followed her outside, he was really hoping Joy would fight back. Don't you think? It's hard to believe she thought it was too late to apologize. And now, because of that one wrong move, she has to live with throwing away the opportunity of a lifetime. So, can you think of more reckless moments from the show? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And hey, check out my social media pages to stay up to date with all of my content. Also, if you thought this video was crazy, then make sure to check the next post right here. It's even better.